Hi everybody, Tracy Brown. So this is a thing that comes up for a lot of people when they hear about intuitive eating. I actually call it attuned eating just because I like the word in terms of just being in the right now of whatever factors are leading us to want to eat or not eat a certain food or a certain amount of a food. So semantics being aside, what I find when people first discover this approach, however they get here or whatever rabbit hole we fell down to find these videos or read the books that we find, is that our first instinct, because of all the years of being told we shouldn't eat certain foods, whether from a health perspective or because of weight, and most people come to me thinking, I just want to be healthy, when the behaviors they're actually doing are far from healthy. Meaning they're not eating enough to actually get enough nutrition to fully function and fuel their life. So, okay, that being, again, I'll put that aside for a second, it's really common to turn attuned eating or intuitive eating, whatever you want to call it, into another program or another diet or whatever, because we're so used to the containment of that. And that's what feels safe. We're so used to being told when, how, what to eat and what foods are acceptable, and you'll get A, B, C, certain goal, usually wrapped around weight loss, so that you can be more acceptable. A lot of people like to package that in, but I just want to be healthy. And of course, you can be healthy without losing weight. It's just more of a focus on behaviors than it is about like a number on the scale going down. So I think that's what people get really scared of, is knowing the uncertainty of like, what will happen if I fully surrender to this process, not program, not diet, but this process of unfolding layer after layer after layer of what comes up. And what is true for me, what was true for every client I've ever worked with in the past, and what will be true for everyone that I work with in the future, is that a lot of stuff is going to come up, which I think we know somewhere deep down is scary, because we don't know what that is, and we're afraid that maybe we can't handle it or it's going to be too much. But what I have to say to that is that you found this because there was a part of this way of living, this freedom, that is a yes for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to be watching this video. And so what I encourage you to do is think about intuitive eating or attuned eating is a coming home of source, of learning how to not only hear your relationship with food and weight, but also know who you really are as an eater, what you really like, and all the ways in which you tell yourself maybe that's not okay, or I'm not good enough for that, or I have to be a certain way to earn love, safety, validation, worthiness, or that if I give up my non-attunement to eating, let's say that I eat only for pleasure, and it's pleasure on top of pleasure with eating, and I never want to stop, that says a lot about fear of being trapped, or feeling like that everything has to be a heightened experience for life to be worthwhile, or whatever it is that matches where you're coming from, because we all have different starting places with our own personality types and our own experiences and our own ways in which we are or not safe in our bodies, that determine what our process looks like in intuitive eating. So the principles, let's say that they're in the intuitive eating book, which are so awesome and such a good guidepost, are just scratching the surface, you guys. So it's like, if for every principle is in there, you can break it down 100 more steps in terms of noticing and allowing and being curious and learning the story of, let's say, who in that moment is driving your bus to deciding how you eat. And let's say that you are trying to stop counting calories and you haven't for a while, and then you just notice, oh my goodness, I'm counting calories a lot this week. What is up with that? Who's running the show doing that? Because I wasn't doing that 2 days ago. And then you might discover, okay, was feeling like too much, then going back to something that contained some of those too much feelings. So that's the kind of work that actually really revolves around attuned eating. And we think that if we just follow steps, we're doing it right. And that's another way that feeds that fear in us that, like, I have to do it right to be worthy. And so with this process, you can't mess it up. And so I really encourage you to look at this as a long game kind of situation. And if you're struggling or don't know what to do next, or you find yourself like really diving in and then you pull back out because it feels like, nope, I'll do one more diet, I'll go to one more doctor, practitioner, somebody else that will just tell me what to eat, bring that back home to yourself. What is going on with me that I'm looking for something external again to tell me how to do it? Because that's not how I teach people at all. I teach people to be their own nutrition guides, but I also teach them how to be their own even just inner guides or even soul guides as to what it is that your thoughts or feelings or behaviors around food are really saying about what needs to be communicated. And so that's a process that you can't screw up. It's just one that I encourage you to take the risk to go on. All right, well, that's it for now. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Goodbye.